great stuff. Medicaid expansion, public option, Medicare buy-in, a bunch of great things through reconciliation with 50 votes. And if you can't get people to waive the rules for some of the insurance regulations, you can do what we did with the Matthew Shepard hate crime law. It didn't have 60 votes in the Senate, so they attached it to a defense appropriations bill, and that's how they got it passed through Congress. I think we should not buy into this myth that they can't do better than they have done with these 60 votes.
John Walker.
You don't need a Senate or Joe Lieberman. Oh, sorry.
Well, let me ask you this question. As soon as the Senate bill was announced, the stock soared for the insurance companies. Why is it that the Republicans are so opposed to this bill?
Well, the Republicans realize that as an opposition party, tearing down whoever you're up against is the quickest route back to power. And this is the problem with the Senate. It used to be a place where people tried to get together, tried to find compromises and stuff, but they realized that modern politics, bringing down your opponent is the fastest way back to the top, and that will be the modus operandi probably moving forward for the next several decades in this country.
What do you feel needs to be done, Wendell Potter, when you talk about the kind of activism and lobbying that must be done right now? What are your plans? What coalitions are you a part of?
I'm not a part of any coalition, but I would advise all progressives to really focus on the House bill of the next few days, next few weeks, to encourage and, in fact, demand that House leaders stand firm on the legislation that they have passed already. The reality is, of course, that if they do pass something without reconciliation, it will have to be something that can pass the Senate, or we will have failed to pass anything. The reconciliation may be a possibility, but I would certainly want to make sure that what would have to be given up in the reconciliation process, because there are certain things that would not be able to be included in legislation through the reconciliation process. It is an option. It was an option all along that was considered, but we just need to make sure that I'm not going to say I would endorse that right now until I would see exactly what would be included in a reconciliation and what would have to be given up. But I think that one of the things, for example, that needs to be changed, in my view, and Bob Herbert noted it in the New York Times this morning, is how some of the revenue is raised. The Senate bill would tax the so-called high-end or Cadillac plans, which I think is very bad policy for a lot of different reasons. And Herbert he describes some of those reasons. The House would raise money through taxing the very richest among us, and I think that's the way to go. So there are a lot of things that I would focus on if I were to be an advisor to progressive groups, and what I'll be doing as I go forward as a part of the Center for Media and Democracy and as a blogger is focusing on that myself.
And John Walker, of the 16 demands, 16 ways to fix the Senate bill, can you carry on with what you feel needs to be done?
Oh, yeah, I don't think the bill does anything to hold the insurance companies honest. And what we're doing is we're creating a mandate. We're going to use the IRS to force people to buy a product, which is frankly a bad product, poorly regulated, and not really worth the value of purchasing it. And that is a huge step for the government to give to the insurance companies, and it has not demanded enough concessions in return from them to justify that. I would prefer a much higher medical loss ratio, written into the law, a really strong enforcement mechanism, obviously some form of public competition against the insurance companies, either some type of public option or Medicare buy-in. I would obviously, like with Wendell Potter, want to see this excise tax removed or changed. It will cause millions of Americans with good insurance right now to have higher co-pays and higher deductibles and worse quality plans. There's just a bunch of things in the bill that needs to be changed, including a tighter age ban. They'll allow insurance companies to charge older people 3 times as much as younger people. That is not true community ratings. There's just all sorts of problems with the Senate bill, and a dramatic number of changes that need to be made if we want to get an actual working healthcare system, as opposed to something that will just funnel lots and lots of money into a broken system that will make it even harder to repair next time.
John Walker, I want to thank you for being with us, policy analyst with Fire Dog Lake, and Wendell Potter, senior fellow in healthcare for the Center for Media and Democracy. As we move now to